Hello friends, tonight we're going to review the Aero Precision M4E1 lower that you see here on the table. This video is the first in a series in which we're going to take a look at all of the parts that make up this very lightweight and handy Aero Precision M4E1 rifle that I put together. This is my favorite rifle of all time, regardless of manufacturer, and several of my friends and acquaintances who have fired it felt that it was interesting enough for me to share it with the internet. And most of the parts in this build are so awesome that they deserve a review anyway, regardless of what sort of gun they're part of. Also, this series was filmed out of order, so I apologize in advance. I got really far along and realized that I should probably start with the lower, right? It only makes sense. Also, this video marks the return of my cheetah print bathrobe, a wintertime favorite. In addition to keeping me warm and snuggly on cold winter nights, it has the added effect of making me look like a super fancy wizard, so that's nice. So why was I building such a lightweight rifle in the first place? Well, there are a lot of reasons for it, really. First of all, for anyone, a lightweight rifle is just going to be handier. I see more and more people moving in that direction, and I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. And in the end, it ended up being my favorite rifle of all time. Also, I have some issues with my left arm that caused me to have diminished strength and diminished function just in that arm. So my right arm works fine, but I really need the left arm to work a little bit better to support like a 9-pound rifle that has all that stuff out front and a really heavy barrel. So I opted for this route, and it worked out great. This is hands down the coolest, handiest, most funnest rifle I've ever had, and I think that you would probably enjoy it too. So, why did I choose this lower? Well, let's look at the features that the M4E1 has. You can see, just looking at it, this is not quite an ordinary lower receiver, and we'll compare it a little bit to this classic Palmetto State Armory mil-spec lower. In fact, you probably have one of those at your own house. So first off, the Aero M4E1 is visually stunning. From an aesthetic perspective, this is the most beautiful lower around, rivaled only by those Radian ones. These lowers are forged, even though they look like billet, and are stunning up close. Also, the price is extremely reasonable. Half the time, I'm buying these simply because I like to look at them. These angular lines, to me, are sort of reminiscent of the geometric shapes that we see on stealth fighters, and these pictographs here remind us of a certain high-end German manufacturer, I think. And that Aero logo there kind of completes the futuristic theme. So ARs are super cool, and our lowers should look cool to match, in my opinion. We've got this integrated wide trigger guard here. The magazine well is highly flared to assist with super fast mag changes. That's really, really nice. We have these pictographs, like we said, for the safety lever. The bullet up here at the top means that the gun can fire, and the bullet with an X through it indicates that the gun cannot and is unsafe. And I truly hope that you know that without me telling you. So here are some of the less obvious features, though. The shape of these selector pictographs make it so that they work well with either 45, or 90 degree selectors. I'm just making up different degrees now. And as you can see, I have the Radian Talon installed, set to a 45 degree throw. In fact, let's look at that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's what it looks like on the other side. Yeah, great stuff. Well, I should have kept it flipped over. The bolt catch pin is threaded here instead of being a roll pin like we would see on the standard mil-spec version. Yeah, look at that. There's a hex screw in there that functions as the roll pin, so you can change out your bolt catches really, really fast. Aero also says that prevents damage to the lower, which it surely does if you have butterfingers like myself, but it also just makes swapping those parts a breeze. And you can also see that my bolt catch is not exactly mil-spec. The rear takedown pin here under the end plate has a threaded screw to help hold in the detent pin and spring. You can see the unthreaded hole on the mil-spec one, I think. Yeah, you can probably see that. The camera is very close to the table today, so it's kind of tough to get stuff under there where you can look at it. If you put together a lower, you know that spring is incredibly irritating. It's not hard per se, it's just a pain in the old wiener, and this really helps immensely. This will also help you out if you have to change the buffer tube or end plate. As you know, if you've ever built a lower, combing through your carpet for a detent and spring that seems to have teleported into another fucking dimension, despite the fact that they could only possibly be within a 3x3 foot square, meaning that they have clearly exited the back of the rifle with enough force to tear a fucking hole in the space-time continuum and disappear forever. It's not a good way to spend an evening, definitely. Somewhere there's a big-headed gray alien picking up all the detent pins that I've lost off the floor. Anyway, this last feature here is really cool. Do you see, well, I need to pop out this pin. Underneath this pin, do you see that filthy nylon screw under there? That pin can be tightened so that it presses up against the upper receiver beneath the shaft for the rear takedown pin. And everybody's had a wobbly AR, and this fixes that. It puts some pressure there and no more wobble between the upper and lower. But surely, you say, this must be heavier for all those features. Really, it's actually not. It's only 0.34 ounces heavier than a standard lower, weighing in at 0.861 ounces. And really, I think the difference in weight is just the fact that this has the integrated trigger guard in it. So you're not having that trigger guard that adds weight. Do these features really work? These lowers were obviously designed by folks who shoot a lot of ARs. These small quality of life upgrades really matter, and they make a difference. These lowers are faster to assemble and therefore less frustrating for first timers. For folks who have done it a few times, you'll be so grateful for the changes. After these, I just don't view working on mil-spec lowers quite the same way. The pictographs are super cool. They kind of help with the futuristic aesthetic. I guess I'm not really struggling to figure out the state of my rifle selector, but it's nice that they're there and are very clear to any user of the gun, no matter their skill level. Aero does a great job with tolerances, so their uppers and lowers are never loose, but the nylon screw makes sure that the fit is always rock solid with any upper. That feature gives Aero rifles a sense of stability that really inspires great confidence. The feature, though, that has been the most useful to me, I think, is this flared magazine well. Mag changes are a breeze. This opening is really, really big. Every lower should do this. And now that I'm used to it, I just really can't go back. Nothing feels quite as good once you're used to this thing. My final thoughts. This is my favorite lower that you can buy with human money. This lower has seen almost 4,000 rounds between two uppers and will see many thousands and thousands more. Me and this thing spend a lot of time together. When I built this gun, I didn't want just another AR-15. I love ARs, but I've spent most of my range time over the last 15 years shooting some kind of AR. I mean, haven't we all, really? It's still the best all-around rifle platform, no contest, so I couldn't bring myself to move away from the AR to something else, but I needed something different, and the Aero M4E1s are different enough. They're new and exciting, appealing to both the hands and the eyes. I've shot many fancy rifles, but the M4E1s are my favorite. And then I discovered that I prefer lightweight rifles, so that's going to be the focus of our series here. This might not be the lightest lower ever. There are definitely lightened lowers, but this is the best lower all around, in my opinion, and you need to go buy one or a few. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Thanks for watching part 1 of my lightweight rifle series. We laughed a lot, we hugged a lot, we cried a lot, and made some new friends. If you learned something, enjoyed the video, or simply thought that I was a weird guy and would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you soon. Good night.